What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler, and you can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, August 24th. We'll start off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, kicking things off with the bad news as first baseman Nolan Schanuel was placed on the 10-day IL with a wrist bone bruise. He was hit by a pitch 2 weeks ago and is now finally landing on the IL. Schanuel intends on missing only the minimum 10 days. So we should see Schanuel back in less than a couple weeks. In the meantime, Nico Cavadas will take over at first base for the Angels. And in a corresponding move, outfielder Matthew Lugo was recalled from the minors. He's the Angels' number 25 prospect, and he'll be their fourth outfielder filling in off the bench. In terms of transactions, starting pitcher Taj Bradley was recalled from the minors to make his Twins debut on the south side of Chicago. Unfortunately, did not go great. Bradley tossed 5 innings, allowing 9 hits and 7 earned runs while walking 1 and striking out just 1, inducing 8 whiffs with 22% CSW across 88 pitches. Bradley will get the Padres up next, but I'd steer clear at the moment. He did not look too sharp in the minors as well, with a pretty inflated ERA after being traded from the Rays to the Twins. So I think Bradley still has a lot of potential, but I don't know if he's going to reach that this year with the Twins right now after his start against the lowly White Sox. That doesn't seem likely. Next, we have starting pitcher Chad Patrick, who was recalled from the minors by the Brewers to start versus the Giants on Sunday. He tossed 5 1/3 innings, allowing 4 hits and 2 earned runs while walking 2 and striking out 7, inducing 16 whiffs with 36% CSW across 87 pitches. And it's unclear if Patrick will stick in the Brewers' current 6-man rotation or if he's going to head back to the minors like he did after his spot start in the doubleheader against the Cubs last week. And lastly, we have starting pitcher McCade Brown, who was selected from the minors to make his MLB debut for the Rockies in Pittsburgh. He tossed 3 2/3 innings, allowing 5 hits and 4 earned runs, walking 3 while striking out 2, inducing 5 whiffs with 17% CSW across 75 pitches. And as always with Rockies pitchers, it's tough to trust them not only because of their home ballpark, but because of the pitching development that they have in Colorado. So not a lot of faith here in McCade Brown. He does have a cool name, so he's got that going for him. He'll face the Cubs next, and that's probably a start I'm steering clear of until I see him have some success. And in terms of news, outfielder Yordan Alvarez is expected to be activated from the 60-day IL on Tuesday. Alvarez has spent nearly 4 months on the IL with a hand strain, so he could be rusty due to the long layoff, but Alvarez obviously should be activated and rostered everywhere. And lastly, starting pitcher Chris Sale is expected to be activated from the 60-day IL on Saturday to start in Philadelphia. Sale landed on the IL more than 2 months ago with a fractured rib cage, but he's another star that should be rostered in every single league because of the success that he's had throughout his entire career. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Sunday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with catcher Cal Raleigh, who helped the Mariners to win against the A's, going 3 for 5 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 4 runs batted in. He's up to 49 home runs on the year now. First one traveled to 448 feet at 111 miles per hour. Second one went 412 feet at 107 miles per hour. And with those pair of homers, Raleigh not only tied, but he also set the major league record for home runs in a single season by a catcher, surpassing Salvador Perez's 48 homer 2021 campaign. Still with more than a month to go, Raleigh's got a chance at eclipsing 50 homers. That chance is pretty big considering he's at 49 already, and he does have a pretty decent shot at making a run at the single season Mariners home run record of 56 set by Ken Griffey Jr. in 1997, and then followed up again with another 56 homer campaign in 1998. Pretty impressive there from Griffey Jr. However, there is also a slim chance, I guess, however, is not there's a slim chance also that Raleigh could have a chance at touching Aaron Judge's American League record of 62 homers that he set back in 2022. And honestly, Raleigh has done just about everything possible to make the American League MVP award discussion interesting. But with Aaron Judge putting up another elite season, I don't think Raleigh's going to run away with it. However, if I had a vote, I think I'd be going with Raleigh because this is probably the best season we've ever seen from a catcher. And I think Judge sort of deserves a taste of his own medicine after robbing Ohtani in 2022. Similar sort of storyline there where Ohtani was like clearly better across everything. Like you don't see a two-way season like that from anybody really ever other than Babe Ruth, I guess. But Ohtani, one of a kind player, but he sort of got robbed from the MVP in 2022 because Judge set the American League home run record. Obviously, very different conversation here with Raleigh versus Judge, but I think because Raleigh sort of set himself apart amongst catchers, that it's sort of a similar situation there where you have a record-breaking season against a player that has just been so good year in and year out. So I'd be voting for Raleigh. I'm sure there's going to be tons of discussion across the rest of the year in that regard. Next, we have second baseman Jazz Chisholm, who helped the Yankees to win against the rival Red Sox, going 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 4 runs batted in. He's up to 24 homers now. First one traveled 372 feet at 105 miles per hour. Second one went 356 feet at 106 miles per hour. And quietly, Chisholm is in the midst of the best season of his career. Always limited by injuries. Chisholm spent a month on the IL earlier this year, but that hasn't prevented him from closing in on a career high in WAR with the highest WRC plus of his career in a season of more than 60 games. And if we maintain that stipulation, Chisholm is supported by career best StatCast metrics, and most notably his 16.5% barrel rate, which puts him in the 94th percentile in all of baseball. And Chisholm's expected slugging percentage even suggests there's another gear for him to reach in the power department. So we could see a power surge through the end of the year from Chisholm. The biggest help, though, has been a more selective approach that has him chasing pitches out of the zone less than ever. I think with the past 2 campaigns from Chisholm that has seen him display incredible power speed numbers in the middle of a very deep and dangerous Yankees lineup in a very small ballpark that is very good for left-handed hitters. I think Jazz is going to be drafted very highly in fantasy leagues next year. And lastly, we have shortstop Jared Triolo, who helped the Pirates to win against the Rockies, going 2 for 2 with a run, a home run, 3 RBIs, a walk, and a steal to complete the combo meal. He's up to 5 homers and 9 steals on the season now. Homer traveled 412 feet at 101 miles per hour. And ever since the deadline trade of Ke'Bryan Hayes, Triolo has received everyday playing time on the left side of the infield for the Pirates and has parlayed that opportunity into a career best run at the plate. The 27-year-old right-handed hitter has batted .324 with a pair of homers, 4 steals, and a WRC plus north of 140 over the past month, going yard in each of his last 2 games. The batted ball quality doesn't necessarily support a power surge, so these 2 homers are likely a bit of an outlier. However, Triolo's drastically improved his plate approach, cutting his strikeout rate by more than 8% and increasing his zone contact rate to a near elite level at 90%, which lends credence to the high batting average he's had over the past few weeks. Triolo, in my opinion, is someone to roster in 15-team leagues and deeper while he's on fire and playing every day. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the Daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Brady Singer, who helped the Reds to win in Arizona, tossing 6 innings, allowing 1 hit and 1 run while walking 3 and striking out 9. He induced 13 whiffs with 40% CSW across 95 pitches. And anytime Singer has success like this, you can assume he faced a passive lineup and received plenty of sinker called strikes. And that was the case again on Sunday, as Singer racked up 18 called strikes and 50% CSW on his sinker, requiring just 1 pitch to show up to lead him to a dominant start. And that was the sweeper in this one, which stayed down and glove side, leading to 7 whiffs and 47% CSW, which is impressive considering Singer faced a lefty-heavy Diamondbacks lineup. Singer mainly used his slider outside of the sweeper to sneak in the back door for more called strikes, and he turned to a cutter to jam lefties as well. I don't have much faith in Singer as more than a Toby, despite the occasional big strikeout performance like we saw on Sunday, and that's because of his reliance on sinker called strikes, which are not something that are typically carried over from start to start, and because of his lack of a clearly effective offering against left-handed batters. It was the sweeper on Sunday, but that's not a pitch that typically has success against opposite-handed batters, and it has been an inconsistent pitch for Singer across the season. However, with the Cardinals up next, I think we can stream Singer looking for a quality start or a win. And lastly, we've got Logan Gilbert, who helped the Mariners to win against the A's, tossing 6 innings, allowing 3 hits and 1 earned run while walking 1 and striking out 13. He induced 25 whiffs with 42% CSW across 93 pitches. And Gilbert earned the golden goal on Sunday as he led baseball with those 25 whiffs to earn the Gallows Pole and led baseball with the 42% CSW to earn the King Cole. Gilbert also set a career high with a baker's dozen punchouts as his 3-pitch arsenal was absolutely cooking. His slider was his main offering in this one, landing glove side to both lefties and righties to the tune of 10 whiffs and 52% CSW as it tunneled beautifully with his fastball, which played up in the zone, thanks to his elite extension, inducing 7 whiffs and 44% CSW, while Gilbert's splitter surprised batters with arm side run, returning 7 more whiffs and 35% CSW. Coming off a 6-run nightmare his last time out, it's nice to see Gilbert find success across his entire arsenal and dominate once again. It's been a season hampered by injuries and inconsistent performances. Nonetheless, Gilbert still has a 3.69 ERA, a 1.03 whip, and a ton of strikeouts, but Gilbert is somebody with an effective skill set that you really just can set and forget in your lineup, especially with the Guardians in Cleveland up next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves, starting with the former. Keegan Aiken pitched a perfect 5-out save, his 3rd of the season. Orion Kirkring worked around a solo shot for his 4th save. Yohan Duran had pitched on back-to-back days, so he was resting for the Phillies. Raisel Iglesias worked around 3 hits and a run to record his 22nd save. Carlos Estevez pitched a perfect 9th to record his AL leading 34th save. He's also tied with Robert Suarez for the MLB lead. Tyler Phillips pitched a perfect 9th for his 2nd save of the season. Ryan Walker pitched a scoreless 9th for his 11th save. Randy Rodriguez had been dealing with arm soreness, so he was unavailable on Sunday. And lastly, Daniel Palencia recorded his 20th save with a scoreless 9th. And in terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Dennis Santana pitched a scoreless 9th up by 4. Trevor McGill allowed 2 runs in the 9th to blow his 6th save and take his 3rd loss. Emilio Pagan pitched a perfect 9th up by 5. The Reds had scored 5 runs in the 8th inning, so that sort of explains that one. And lastly, Tanner Scott pitched a perfect 8th up by 5. This was his first appearance back from the IL, so I think the Dodgers were just trying to get him some work before he faces his first save opportunity. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Monday, August 25th, a day in which we'll have just 13 games on the slate. My matchup of the day is Joe Ryan versus Max Scherzer. Joe Ryan, super dope, great pitcher. Same with Max Scherzer, obviously at the end of his career, but always must-watch TV, must-see TV, I guess, if you want to say that instead. Not only because he's really talented, really entertaining, but also because he's nearing the end of his career. So probably want to take every opportunity you can to see Scherzer start while you can. And in terms of probable starters, we've got 7 guys in the auto starts tier, including Joe Ryan. We've also got Tarek Skubal against the A's in Sacramento, Jacob deGrom versus the Angels, and Hunter Green in Hollywood. Our probably starts tier has 6 guys, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Cam Schlitter versus the Nationals. He's looked really great to start his career, and he settled in nicely in his most recent start, taking a no-hitter deep, or a perfect game deep into the night against the Rays last time out. He's got a dominant fastball and some secondaries that, if he can keep low, can find a ton of success, especially against a pretty mediocre Nationals lineup. I'd also keep an eye out for Emmett Sheehan versus the Reds. Sheehan's got a pretty dope arsenal. He plays for the Dodgers, so he's got a great chance at a win, and he'll be facing the Reds on the road, so we won't have to deal with Great American Ballpark, and that lineup is pretty passive outside of their home ballpark. In terms of hitter suggestions, I'd look at Marlins hitters versus Spencer Strider in Lone Depot Park. Strider has really been struggling recently. It's a weird one to suggest, but you may be able to find some Marlins hitters on your waiver wire that can take advantage of Strider's recent struggles. I'd also look at Starling Marte versus Christopher Sanchez in Citi Field. He's batted .364 with a homer, an 1189 OPS, and 11 at-bats versus Sanchez. I'd also take a look at Travis d'Arnaud versus Jacob deGrom in Globe Life Field. D'Arnaud has batted .300 with with a pair of homers and a 1200 OPS in 10 at-bats against DeGrom. I'd also look at Mitch Garver versus JP Sears in T-Mobile Park. Garver has batted .308 with a homer and a .948 OPS in 13 at-bats in his career against Sears. And lastly, I'd target Brent Rooker versus Tarek Skubal in Sutter Health Park. Rooker has batted .471 with 3 homers and a 1500 OPS in 17 at-bats against the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner. Now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Trevor McGill has pitched in 3 of the past 4 days and had a 34-pitch blown save on Sunday. I'd expect Abner Uribe to fill in as the Brewers closer on Monday. And lastly, Randy Rodriguez is dealing with arm soreness, so expect Ryan Walker to once again fill in for him on Monday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.